Hey guys, it's S0ur, and in this video I will give all the advice I know to help you get Longshot medals more easily. This is partly a response to the video I made a few days ago, where I went in depth talking about how the camo challenge system works, and how you could easily earn challenges such as the MDL Bloodthirsty medals by simply only getting the 5th kill of the 5 with the MDL, and so on. I'll leave a link for that if you're interested, but I say this video is partly a response, because at the end of that video, I put the question out there that while I didn't have any mind-blowing, game-changing tips for other camo challenges, that I'd try to help out and answer questions people had about completing their challenges. I originally planned to just reply in a message, but it seemed like enough people were asking me about long shots that perhaps it warranted its own video, so here I am. I believe you need 80 long shots in order to unlock camos for assault rifles, heavy weapons, and sniper rifles. Much better than the 500 long shots it used to be, thank god that was changed. But for many people it's still the hardest or most time-consuming challenge to complete. If you prioritize the no attachment and no perk challenges like I do, then run around with the weapon and play naturally without thinking about challenges, I find that most commonly I'm going to be left with about 50 long shots to grind out after I've already earned all my other camos, which can be a bit frustrating, but I've started to realize that long shots are really not that hard to get. If you play it right, you can get 10 to 20 long shots in one game and knock out the challenge in no time. Now I'll tell you up front, there is no super amazing trick to this like there was with the MDL Bloodthirsty video. I am unfortunately not going to tell you, well, just use the parabolic microphone attachment and you can get long shots at half the range. Nope, sorry about that, I wish that was a thing, but I'm not gonna bullshit you. There's only one simple truth to getting Longshot medals, and that is to keep your distance. Yeah. Now maybe you're thinking, well, S0ur, you just said you weren't going to bullshit me, and that is incredibly obvious. I didn't come to a tip video to basically hear the challenge restated in a different way, and well, that's why I originally didn't make this video. I feared there wouldn't be a whole lot to tell you other than keep your distance from enemies, but here I am, so I obviously have something to say. What I realized was that keeping your distance from enemies entails quite a few smaller tips and strategies that some people will think is common sense, but that many people might not think of, so I'm going to break it down what it means to keep your distance. Build the right class, play the right game mode, pick the right maps, and most importantly, adjust your playstyle. Do these 4 things and long shots will be very easy. Now I'll go through this list and explain what I mean by everything. So build the right class. In terms of attachments, I definitely recommend going for the foregrip and the quick draw grip. I don't have any ARs with attachments right now, I've been working on SMGs, so I'll just bring up the AMR9 for the purposes of demonstration, even though I know SMGs don't need long shots. Anyway, so the foregrip and the quick draw grip are great, and if you're going for long shots with a heavy weapon, I know that advanced rifling is an option for some of the LMGs. You might think that's a fitting attachment since you are going for kills at long range, but in my opinion that will rarely make a difference in the time to kill, and you should spend your last attachment slot on a sight that you like. Depending on the recoil of the weapon, I'll take either the red dot or the ACOG for that extra zoom. Again, I think it gets harder and harder to use many of the iron sights in this game at long ranges, so unless you're really comfortable with the iron sights, I'd go ahead and get a sight. If you're using a weapon that maybe doesn't need a grip like some AK-12 variants, you can use some other attachment that you like, but I would recommend avoiding stuff like rapid fire and laser sight because those are basically useless for long shots and will either do nothing or actually throw off your aim. In terms of perks, these are my 3 crutch perks that I rarely go without. I can ditch toughness if I'm using akimbo weapons, but that's basically it. The most important one here for long shots is toughness. You do not want to be flinching around in long range gunfights. The rest of the class is not too important. Mine will probably look something like this. I may substitute the sentry or blind eye for something like exo hover. It's one of the most underrated exo abilities, I think. Not that I really use it all that much, but it could certainly help with long shots because it allows you to sit in what is usually a super common camping spot, but since you're hovering somewhere above that spot, enemies don't usually see you because they just don't expect you to be there. But anyway, you have a class. Next is picking the right game, and well, there is no right game. At the end of the day, if you want to play TDM, just play TDM. But I find Momentum to be the best. It seems to have the highest percentage of casual players. There are people messing around with heavy weapons, weaker SMGs, tons of snipers. Not to say that you won't see the good old Battle of Duty AK-12s and ASM-1s all the time, but I find it slightly better. Also, the spawns are very predictable, and that can allow you to easily rack up long shots from a distance on some maps. Dom also works for that. But let's talk maps, the 3rd thing on the list, because I think this is going to be the most helpful part of the video. It'll be very easy to get long shots on some maps, and near impossible on others. You'll notice I'm playing Dom on Instinct with an ACOG HBR. That's no coincidence, this is pretty old gameplay from when I was going for long shots, and this isn't really great gameplay other than the fact that I get tons of long shots. So maps that you should vote for, my top 4, which I can consistently rack up long shots on, are Instinct, Riot, Recovery, and Ascend, for Momentum especially. On Instinct, you can do what I'm doing in this gameplay. If you get on the top top of the hill temple spawn side, it's super easy to sit up in the top of the map and get kills down in and around these buildings, and all those count as long shots. You may not go on a big streak, but you'll get a couple kills, get revenge killed, come back and repeat the process, which I believe is worth it when every kill is a long shot. On Riot, you can sit up on the 2 roofs and get pretty easy long shots. On recovery, for the first half of the map, I find it's quite easy to lie down on these trucks and get kills on the people that pop up in the middle and on the right. And on the second half of the map, which is probably even better, I don't have actual gameplay of this, I apologize. I wish I did, because I had a ton of success in this spot. I got 10 long shots just by sitting around here and killing the people that tried to head glitch these sulfur rock things, and that was awesome. And finally, on Ascend, this is amazing. If it's momentum and you have this side, just lie down back here on the roof or on this cover thing, and you have a perfect long shot line of sight on the middle flag, and I promise they'll just run into your sights. It's wonderful. If they cap that flag, you can also hop over onto this thing and have a great line of sight for a couple kills before you die. So those are my favorite 4 maps, but you can probably think of a decent long shot spot for every map. Comeback has a great one here off the spawn. It's one of the smallest maps, but this spot does count as a long shot, and everyone runs here on both teams. Horizon, you can hang up on the roof. Green Band, similar thing. There are very long lines of sight. Tons of people are always in this window, and you can take advantage of that. So I could go on and on. If you know the maps pretty well, you can probably think of a good long shot spot. So vote for those maps whenever you can. I'd avoid stuff like Retreat and Biolab just because of the way those maps play. There's a lot of indoor flanking going on. Even though there are some decent long shot lines of sight on these maps, I've just never had much success because of the way they play. Now, last thing on the list, this blends together perfectly with the map advice, is that you have to adapt your mindset and playstyle to go for long shots, which again isn't much of a piece of advice. That's kind of obvious, but I'll explain what I mean because some people just don't do it. They run around hoping that they get long shot medals naturally and are disappointed when they only get 1 every 2 games. I said the last section about maps and spots might be the most helpful because hopefully some of those spots are new to you, but this part is the most crucial to actually getting long shots. The reason I was always left with 50 long shots to earn after I got all my other camos was simply that I rush a lot. I run all around, throw myself on flags, constantly flank, and when you're going for long shots, you just can't do that. So with all these spots on the maps I was just talking about, you basically have to pick one of those spots or just stay towards the edges of the map and adopt a more conservative playstyle. Basically camp. Yeah, pick a spot and camp your ass off because that's how you're going to keep your engagements long distance and that's how you're going to earn long shots. It's a simple truth. You kind of just have to suppress the urge to rush and sit still in a spot of your choice. So to recap, build the right class, play the right game mode, pick the right maps, and adjust your playstyle to sit around and camp instead of rush objectives. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if this helped you and feel free to ask if you have any other questions about camo challenges, although I probably won't make a 3rd follow-up video. I'll just reply to your comment. But thank you for watching and I will catch you next time.